trying to swat down a couple of bothersome flies.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to one of my other videos. Another video. Today we are discussing Metal Gear Solid 1 for the PS1. This is one of my favorite games of all time. As in my other Halo video, Halo 2 is my favorite game of all time in the Halo franchise. Metal Gear Solid 1 is my favorite in the, well, Metal Gear Solid franchise. 1, 2, and 3 are probably my favorites. 1 being my most favorite. I love this game. This game, again, like I said in my other videos, rocked my world. Very young when I played it. I actually played this before I played Halo 2, since, well, it came out before Halo 2. And I was just really getting into everything of gaming, loving it, embracing it. So the story pretty much begins when I was in middle school, introduced by, again, video games introduced by friends. Isn't that great when you have friends that love the same hobby that you do? That's how you become friends, right? So one of my friends was talking about a video game called Metal Gear Solid. I didn't know what it was about, had no clue. I think I had a PS1 at the time, not totally sure. So moving on, fast forward, I was hanging out at my cousin's house, and at that time there were demo discs. Demo discs were, you know, obviously discs that came in the video game magazines. That was the only way you could play a playable demo at that time. And also on the discs were previews, different videos about the different games that were going to come out, and a couple playable demos, which Metal Gear Solid had a playable demo. Played it, was a little confused on what was going on. It was an M-rated game. I was still only like maybe 13, maybe 12. I didn't know what was going on, but the mechanics were tough. We'll get into that, but it was a cool experience in a demo. So again, going on with life, going to Sears. The store's called Sears, not around anymore. They had a video game section, which I spotted finally. Metal Gear Solid, a beautiful standout white case. Metal Gear Solid stood out to me. Finally saw it. Has 2 discs in it, like that. Because back then, for all the kiddos, 2 discs was the way to go, because you cannot fit a long game on a whole 1 disc. So I wasn't able to buy it. Didn't have any money. Didn't ask my parents. My buddy let me borrow it. And wow, that is where we begin.
This is Snake. Colonel, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. What's the situation, Snake?
Looks like the elevator in the back is the only way up.
Just as I expected. You'll have to take the elevator to the surface, but make sure nobody sees you. If you need to, contact me by codec. The frequency is 140.85. When you want to use the codec, push the select button. When we need to contact you, the codec will beep. When you hear that noise, press the select button. The codec's receiver directly stimulates the small bones of your ear. No one but you will be able to hear it.
Got it. Okay, I'm ready to go.
So, Metal Gear Solid, right? We can talk about the story. Pretty much, Metal Gear Solid takes place 2005 on an island called Shadow Moses. It's like a nuclear weapons facility, and it's in Alaska. You are to infiltrate this facility called Foxhound. It's a special forces led by a guy named Liquid Snake. So he's taken over the base and is like threatening a nuclear strike using like a machinery, a big mech, which they call Metal Gear Rex. And while you are infiltrating the building, you play as Solid Snake, the gentleman that you see in the video. He's kind of like a guy that's retired, no longer doing espionage missions, so he's just emotionally exhausted. About this is his mission is to rescue 2 hostages, pretty much stop Metal Gear Rex from getting on its feet and becoming a nuclear threat. And he needs to prevent the launch. The good thing about this game, which I really liked, was the isolation. You're alone, there's no one there to help you other than the people on your phone, which they call the codec, which we saw earlier in the video. They pretty much are going to be the people that are helping you on your mission on the way throughout the whole facility. And throughout the facility, you are under like constant surveillance. Cameras everywhere, guards everywhere. You don't know who's around the next corner, especially the way the camera is. And it's funny because throughout the whole time, the whole story, it always feels like someone is lying. You're always on edge. There's always something going on that you're always second guessing yourself throughout the whole game. Like I said earlier, you have a couple of people on your side throughout the mission. You have Colonel Campbell. He's like the head honcho, the commander-in-chief. You have Naomi Hunter. She's like a foxhound medic. She helps you out in different ways in the game. And you will meet Otacon. He's already in the base, but I don't want to go too much into his story or the story of the game. If you haven't played the game yet, which I know it's been out for a long time, I don't want to go too far into the story. But different things like that, different people to help you out. Then you have the bosses. You have Revolver Ocelot. This guy's like a gunslinger. You have Psycho Mantis. This guy can like read minds, telepathy, things of that nature. Then you have Sniper Wolf. She's like an expertise in sniping. And Vulcan Raven. This dude is like a shaman, and he has like a huge chain gun. And obviously Liquid Snake being the head honcho of the bad guys, right? So everything kind of starts to get into motion in the story. And you know, when I was playing the game for the first time as a kid, I didn't really understand what was going on. There's definitely a political turning point. It's definitely for a more mature audience, and I definitely see how and where Hideo Kojima was going with the story. At the time, I was just really having a lot of fun with the gameplay and the voice acting, which we'll go into later on. But the story was a little complicated for me when I was younger. I understand it a lot more now, but at the time it was definitely something that it was a little bit of a learning curve to kind of understand things, and it was a little hard to do research at that time with the internet not being huge as it is now. But other than that, the story was at least engaging. I understand the good guy, the bad guys, and a little bit of something in between that you weren't too sure what was going to happen, right? So now the story's kind of out of the way. You kind of understand where the story was going. Let's talk about gameplay. So when it came to gameplay, stealth took a huge part in this game. It's pretty much the whole concept of Metal Gear Solid. And the hardest thing about this was that at the time you had to use the D-pad. PS1 was not really, I don't think they had the analog sticks for the original PS1 when they first came out, the DualShock controller. So my God, it was horrible. At the time, it was very normal, but to think about it back, man, it was horrible having to use the D-pad. It was very hard to move and maneuver Snake throughout the whole mission, throughout the whole game. When it comes to the camera, the fixed camera angles, it really limits what you can see, which definitely makes the game a little bit more challenging. Even if you're playing on easy, it's still not going to change the camera. At the time, it was pretty cool. Come think about it now, that camera angle really it sucks. I am not a huge fan of it. The way Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 kind of changed it up, so it became a little bit better, mostly in 3 also. The enemy vision cones are clear, but they're really unforgiving at times. These guys, they can see you from sometimes so far away, depending on the difficulty you're playing at, and the alerts are pretty tense and dangerous. Once something goes off, it's game over. You're gonna have to run. You're gonna have to hide. The whole box meme. You can go into a box. You can hide in a box. You can hide it in a closet. Come up behind someone when they try to when you're hiding in a closet, and different things like that. Combat wise, pretty good. You know, basic shooting. The only thing is the fixed camera angle. I'm not a huge fan of. You can't really see who you're shooting. It's kind of like what Resident Evil did at the time. But the stealth mechanics, when you come up behind someone, you strangle them, you can break their neck, you can take them down right there. Your best bet is to not shoot, stay unalerted, don't give yourself away. The best way to play that game is kind of the way it was made to be played. But man, those fixed camera angles, really, I'm not a fan of. Like I said, it's earlier Resident Evil games, Metal Gear Solid games have them. It just sucked having to use the D-pad. You had like limited movement options, the manual aiming, the slow turning. It got a little bit annoying, but those are just the days we had to deal with. Other than that, you know, you had other things like gadgets you could use. You had cigarettes that would diminish your health, and you can pop one in, smoke one, but it's letting you see like where different like tripwires and lasers are, different gadgets like thermal goggles you can see at night, you can see where maybe mines are, things of that nature. So, and the shooting was pretty tight. It's just, again, the manual aiming, you have to hold it and shoot the gun. A little annoying, but it is what it is. When it came to boss fights, also with the gameplay of that, pretty good. Every boss had like their own thing. Sniper Wolf sniping, and you know, Vulcan Raven with his chain gun. But the guy that stands out the most to me was Psycho Mantis. Psycho Mantis was this villain that could float and telepathy, telekinesis. He's throwing things around in the boss fight. He's controlling people's minds. And the coolest thing in that game, in Metal Gear Solid 1, was when you had a memory card. Memory card, we needed to use it, obviously. For people that don't know, memory card was we could put it in, no hard drive. That's how you saved your games. Psycho Mantis would read what you played, any saved games on that memory card. He would read it and talk to you about it right back to you. Like he's reading your mind. It was the most coolest thing when I was younger, seeing that. It kind of freaked me out, honestly, because Psycho Mantis at the time with this creepy music, he's floating, the camera looks different. It was so cool that Hideo Kojima put that, implemented that into the game, that this guy is reading your card, means like he's like reading your mind. That was the coolest thing. Let's talk music.
Drop down. If you jump while pressing right or left on the directional button, you can make a big jump in that direction. If you press and hold the circle button while using the directional button, you can walk slowly across the wall. If you're careful with the timing, you should be able to dodge the gunfire from behind while you rappel down. If anyone can do it, you can, Snake.
And more of a breakdown to the music, you had like long stretches of kind of like ambient silence, not much going on, and you kind of felt cold and empty, and it was hostile environment in Shadow Moses. But then when the music kicked in, it was like bang, in your face, the alert system. Dun, 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 dun. It was a sudden start, no build up, and it was keeping you on your feet. And you're like, where do I gotta go? Where do I hide? How do I get out of this situation? And that kind of kept the game going, but it wasn't always in your face. It was more cinematic experience. Even the bosses had different tones, different ways of their music that kind of showed their character. explained it through just the music. And to me, I believe that a good song or a bad song could really break or make a game or a movie. Music is a big part of the creation of a game and the experience and emotion. It can be very emotional. And just like the last credits song, The Best Is Yet to Come, it was actually sung in Irish, and I did not know that. What a beautiful song. The way it kind of just released you. You played the game, it was really tough, and Hideo Kojima just kind of brought it all down, and you can relax and just watch this credit scene with this beautiful song and something like that, right? As you can see, I'm a fan. All right, let's talk voice acting.
Today's genome soldiers were born from those experiments.
That's the sickest thing I ever heard.
They used him to test all sorts of gene therapy techniques.
Naomi, why didn't you tell us about this sooner?
Because it's confidential information.
Is that the only reason?
It looks like we'll have to show them that we mean business.
Should I set it for Cherniton, Russia?
No, there's been a change. The new target is Lopnor, China.
Why, boss?
I'm sure neither you nor Mr. Golukovich would really like to see a nuclear bomb dropped on your motherland, right?
Liquid. But why? There's nothing there.
When it came to video games in 1998, there wasn't much going on with, it was minimal voice lines, texts under the characters. There wasn't much voice acting, and it was more of a arcadey work. But when it came to Metal Gear Solid 1, it was fully voice story. All of it was voice acted, long, uninterrupted conversations, and performances like it was a movie from Hollywood. Hideo Kojima did a great job of really bringing that out. It treated us really, really good with the voice acting. And David Hayter, who plays as Solid Snake, he did awesome. You know, his performance was like just defined Solid Snake. It was low and restrained and slightly exhausted, but calm under pressure. He was a veteran. He was a warrior. He's been there. He's done that. And he wasn't over the top. He wasn't really trying to sell you on something. He was maybe trying to, in a way, show you he's a battered hero. You know, he doesn't sound heroic. He just sounds tired. But it's humane. He's self-aware of who he really is. And with the codec calls, which you see now, there's, you know, like the animation, the portraits, the body language. You kind of see it. And it happens all over codec. You know, you kind of see what's going on with the timing and the inflection and the pauses really brings it home. And even with the bosses, they all had their own character in a sense, their own emotions. They all were different, the voice acting. I really appreciate voice acting in video games. It really does bring it out a lot. So guys, let's wrap this video up. So before we wrap up this video, guys, I also want to mention that they recorded this video game in a house, and I think it was in California. And the funny thing is that they had to keep stopping the recording process because they would hear cars going by. Now, they said that you can kind of hear it in the game. My ears are not that great. I can't hear. I don't know who can. But it was a little documentary that I saw that they were saying that they had to keep stopping the recording because they would hear cars going by back and forth. And I guess the editing process wasn't that great. But that's something special to know about this game, and it was a very cool fact to know that they're recording in a house, and it became such a great game, and it all started right there. That's so little things like that, bringing things together, creating something this great. It was just really, really good. Man, when I was younger, this game was really something. It still is. It is still one of my favorite games of all time. This has definitely a special moments in my life with my friends back in the day. And from everything, from the gameplay, from the music, the voice acting, and, you know, it was a lot. And the story, you know, it really is. It really stays with me to this day. And I think it will always be one of my favorite games of all time. And this is a shout out to my cousin, you know. She passed away last year, and I remember, you know, playing this demo at her house when I was a lot younger. And, you know, I don't know if I would have ever played it to even start with, you know, even though I spoke with my friends, but I actually got to play the demo at her house. And Vanessa, this one's for you. I love you. I'll always miss you. I really will. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for watching this video. It took a lot of time to make, and I hope you enjoy it. Bye.